It was a normal morning in Indonesia until metal started falling from the sky. Big sharp pieces crashed through rooftops and into quiet neighborhoods. People on the ground didn't know it yet, but something had gone terribly wrong high above them. Just a few minutes earlier, the biggest passenger plane in the world, an Airbus A380, had taken off from Singapore carrying over 460 people. It was supposed to be a smooth flight to Australia, but suddenly one of the plane's engines exploded. The explosion tore through part of the wing. Fuel began leaking, warning signs flashed across the cockpit. Important systems started shutting down, and the pilots, some of the most experienced in the world, were suddenly facing the kind of emergency no one ever wants to see. They had to make fast choices. Do they turn back immediately and risk crashing on approach, or stay in the air longer and hope the plane doesn't fall apart? Every second counted. And what caused all of this? Not a big mistake, not an attack, just one tiny metal part, smaller than your finger, that was drilled wrong at the factory. That tiny flaw caused a chain reaction that nearly brought down an entire airplane. This is a true story of Qantas Flight 32 and how 469 lives were almost lost to a detail no one saw coming. It's November 4, 2010. Qantas Flight 32 is getting ready for takeoff at Singapore's Changi Airport. The plane is an Airbus A380, the largest passenger aircraft ever built. It has 4 engines, 2 full decks, and enough power to carry over 800 people. On this flight, there are 440 passengers and 29 crew members, including 5 experienced pilots. This flight is part of a journey that began in London with Singapore as a stopover before heading to Sydney. Leading the crew is Captain Richard Champion de Crespigny, a former Air Force pilot with over 15,000 flying hours. The rest of the team is just as skilled. Together, they've logged more than 70,000 flying hours. The weather is clear. The takeoff checklist is complete. Inside the cabin, passengers are settling into their seats, some reading, some watching movies. Some are preparing to sleep through the long flight, while others look forward to reuniting with loved ones in Sydney. To them, it's just another normal day in the sky. But in the cockpit, things are about to take a very unexpected turn. At 9:56 a.m., the massive aircraft lifts off and begins climbing. Everything seems normal. No strange noises, no warning lights, but just 5 minutes later, as the plane climbs past 7,000 feet, everything changes. A loud explosion shakes the aircraft. It swerves left. Engine number 2 has overheated. This is where the nightmare begins. Inside the cockpit, the pilots stay calm. But more warnings appear. The auto throttle stops working. Then comes a message about a possible fire in engine number 2. They shut down the engine and try to put the fire out using built-in extinguishers. But nothing confirms if they worked. The fire message disappears, adding to the confusion. The remaining 3 engines are still running, but none are in perfect condition. Engines 1 and 4 are in degraded mode, and engine 3 is in alternate mode. The pilots are now flying the world's most advanced plane by hand. Passengers on the left side see fuel pouring out of the wing. Some see flames. Flight attendants try to stay calm while checking passengers and reporting what they see. Fear spreads. In the cockpit, warning after warning appears. Almost every system is showing a fault. Fuel, hydraulics, brakes, electrics. Out of 22 systems, 21 are affected. The pilots are overwhelmed, but they keep going. They know 469 lives depend on their next moves. Training kicks in. Communication between the pilots becomes more focused. Every checklist is followed to the letter, and everyone in the cockpit is working as a team. There's no room for panic. Every second matters. They switch from autopilot to full manual, handle manual throttle, monitor fuel loss, and perform emergency checklists back to back. Sweat drips, but focus stays. The pressure is enormous. One wrong decision could mean disaster, but the cockpit remains steady, precise, deliberate, and locked into solving the impossible. In the chaos, they demonstrate incredible mental resilience. Years of simulator drills, flight experience, and instinct all come together in this one critical moment. The crew faces a difficult choice: land immediately or stay in the air longer to understand what still works. Landing too soon might be dangerous. Systems could fail during descent, but staying up too long risks fuel loss and more damage. Captain de Crespigny decides to hold it in the air and balance the plane. He tells the passengers they're handling a problem but have control, calm and clear. They request a holding pattern. Air traffic control clears the space. What they don't say, debris from the plane has already been found in Indonesia. People on the ground think the plane has crashed. Qantas 32 is still flying, still holding together, but the crew must now deal with over 100 alerts flashing in the cockpit. Every system failure must be checked, understood, and dealt with. The pilots divide the tasks. One flies the aircraft manually, while the others focus on solving the technical problems. Minutes turn into a full hour as they work through the long lists of issues. They also discuss fuel balance, center of gravity, alternate landing gear deployment, and what plan will give them the safest chance of surviving a landing attempt. Instructors watching the footage later would say the amount of multitasking done in those moments was equal to the workload of space shuttle emergencies. What makes this decision so impressive is not just that they made the right call, but that they had the clarity and discipline to do so under enormous stress. It's a reminder of how powerful preparation and teamwork can be even in the most terrifying scenarios. The pilots still don't know what caused the explosion, but deep down inside the engine, the answer is simple and scary. At the Rolls-Royce factory, a small oil pipe was drilled off center. It was thinner on one side. Over time, a crack formed. Oil sprayed into the hot engine. It caught fire. The turbine disc exploded and sent metal flying through the engine casing. It hit the wing, cutting wires, damaging tanks, and triggering system failures. That one flaw, a tiny mistake made during manufacturing, almost destroyed an entire aircraft. There were no sensors to detect the crack. It grew silently over time, waiting for the perfect moment to fail. And when it did, it was a disaster. Investigators later confirmed that the faulty pipe had passed quality checks because the problem was hidden deep inside the metal. It's a chilling reminder of how invisible issues can sometimes have the biggest consequences. A single manufacturing mistake cost millions in damage and almost ended in disaster. Rolls-Royce would later issue worldwide inspections and new guidelines to prevent this from ever happening again. This event became a case study in precision engineering and its dangers. Faced with over 100 warnings, the crew focuses on what still works. Fuel is leaking, parts of the wing are damaged, and roll control is cut by 65%, but the aircraft is still flyable. They recalculate fuel and weight, test flap responses, and assign each pilot to monitor key systems. In the cabin, passengers remain calm, trusting the steady leadership from the cockpit. They request a longer approach. The plane is overweight and damaged. Everything must go right. At 800 feet, the captain takes manual control. Just before touchdown, he pushes the nose down to land flat and fast. The aircraft lands at 11:46 a.m. with only one thrust reverser and limited braking. It stops just 150 meters before the runway ends. The landing is rough but safe. Passengers cheer, the crew stays composed. This moment is still studied today as an example of calm, precise leadership under pressure. Qantas Flight 32 becomes a turning point in aviation. The smallest flaw, a misaligned oil pipe, nearly caused a massive tragedy. This taught airlines and manufacturers the importance of precision and deep inspections. More importantly, the flight showed how human skill, not just technology, plays a vital role in safety. The pilots stayed calm, used logic, and worked together. Their actions prevented disaster. In aviation, it's often said, plan for everything, expect the unexpected. Flight 32 proved that sometimes what saves a flight isn't just the checklist, but the crew behind it. Qantas Flight 32 didn't just survive, it became one of the greatest stories of teamwork and survival in modern aviation history. It reminded the world that even in the sky, when everything seems to fall apart, calm minds and smart decisions can still bring everyone home. Because at the end of the day, flying is more than engines and metal. It's about the people who make sure we land safely no matter what. Their story continues to inspire pilots, engineers, and everyday people around the world, and it reminds us even the smallest details can change everything. And thanks for watching!